Okay. Welcome everyone to the Rotary Club of Greater Huntsville, our September the 16th meeting on Wednesday. We have a lot of great things to talk about today, and we have a great presenter, so I'm looking forward to getting this meeting started. And with that said, let me go ahead and share my screen, share the slides to talk about our announcements. And let me bring it to full. There we go. Okay. Okay. Again, welcome to our club. Let me get this out of here. Moving forward, Beth Brooks is going to lead us in our pledge today. Would you mind going ahead with that, Beth?
I don't mind at all. Thank you, Elizabeth. If you will all say the Pledge of Allegiance with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States
of America
and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Beth. And Nicole, are you with us? She was slated to do the prayer for us. Chris was not able to make it to the meeting today. Nicole, are you with us? Now I have a volunteer from our members, one of our members today, to lead us in prayer.
I will, Elizabeth.
Who is that?
I will, Chuck.
All right, thank you.
All right, let us join together in prayer. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you today as your group of servants in the name of Rotary. We ask that you be with us and lead us in what we do and help us to always remember to put service above self. Watch over us and protect us. We ask in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Chuck. I truly appreciate everyone, especially jumping in impromptu at the last minute. And today, our guest speaker is Brian Walker. He's the manager of landscape management from the city of Huntsville. He's got a great presentation for us. Next week, we're going to have Kathy Miller. She's the community impact director from the United Way of Madison County. So that's going to be excellent. And then on the 30th, we have Brandon Johnson. He's president of the Dynamic Leader, Connecting for Influence.
Great teamwork.
Then coming in October, and we don't have, I don't have all of the October dates yet, but I can tell you that October the 14th, we have Hillary Claiborne, director of the UH SBDC and PTAC. She's going to talk about their services, but also talk about their role in educating small business owners and others about the EIDL and PPP loans and what may be coming down in the future. In addition to that, on the 21st, we have Josh Goforth. I think you all remember Josh from several months ago now. He came and did a great program for us, lots of music, stories. It was lots of fun. He's going to do a virtual event for us with a Halloween theme. So that's going to be excellent and lots of fun come toward the end of October. Okay, on to announcements. And let's see, let me minimize this. Okay, just wanted to remind everyone that RLI training, there is of course, no in-person events scheduled anytime soon, but there will be RLI training, and somehow, Will, can you help fill this in? Somehow my date got deleted on this slide. Can you tell us when that event is going to be taking place? Will?
Yes.
Yes.
I think, and I'd have to go check my emails. I think it's on the 20th, and I believe I know one person I believe that has either taken one this week or is planning to take that one. That's Robert Barnes from the Madison Club, who used to be
Yes.
a club member, who actually will probably, those of us that do the ramp build on Saturday will probably see him.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
Elizabeth,
Yes.
it's October. Those dates are in October,
Okay.
like October 10th, and then the following weekend, the 17th.
Thank you very much. I don't know how that got deleted, but I will make sure it's added on correctly for the next time. So
Thank you.
you'll see that the cost for the training is on the 20th. So it's not very expensive. But you know, if you've already taken 1 and 2 and want to round out your RLI training and get your certificate, this would certainly be a good way to do it. Otherwise, it might be a little while before we have any in-person training. So take advantage of that if you can.
Elizabeth, do you know
Yes.
if they're going to have like a virtual number 2?
I've not heard anything, but Will would be the best person to answer that question.
I think there are plans for some joint conferences, 2 or 3 districts joining together and offering parts 1, parts 2, and part 3, but nothing's fructified yet.
Okay.
So I don't have any dates.
So I'm interested in number 2, especially if it's Zoom, where even if
Yeah.
it's a different part of the state or country, you know, that we can get that one in so I can participate in 3 eventually.
Yeah.
Thanks.
6740, if you look there, they're having it around the same time, parts 1 and 2.
If you notice at the bottom of the slide, I do have the website there. You might want to take note of that and then go to their district site or it's the RLI site, but it's for that particular district. You might want to go check that out. You may end up signing up for more than just one. So it's all up to you, whatever your schedule will allow.
Yes, some districts are much more, shall we say, proactive in setting up and developing and implementing the virtual training.
Okay. Yes.
As long as these are remote, if y'all could send out those links for maybe anyone not on the call,
Sure.
That's a great way to get caught up. So
Yeah.
thanks.
No problem. We'll take care of that this week.
Thanks.
Okay.
And then how do we, I know the club pays for it. How do we, when we register, how do we do that? Or are they free being online?
Yeah, you would register online, but they're going to be limited. They found that it just isn't effective for more than perhaps 10, 20 people. So if you should sign up early if you find a slot that find a time and a slot that works for you.
So go ahead and pay and then just the club reimburse?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next slide. And we will get this information out to the club. I will ask Jim to send it out within the next couple of days if possible. So that way you'll have it ready to hand. I'll let Chuck talk about this a little bit in just a second. So we have an opportunity to assist Mountain Gap School with a cleaning supply drive. And really that entails more than just supplies. It's really for sanitizing the school to keep children and teachers and staff safe as the school reopens to in-person education. So if Chuck, if you're available, I'd love for you to comment on this.
Yeah, I talked with the president of the PTA association there at Mountain Gap, and they're putting on this drive to try to help their teachers get the supplies you see listed there: masks, hand sanitizer, spray, and wipes, and so forth. When they go back into a full classroom setting, which is coming up real soon. So we're gonna start this right away. And if you can, next time you're out at the store, pick up any of these items or several of these items, and you see the location drop points and dates and times, and I'll be at the the ramp build Saturday, if you want to bring them in, or I'll be at Trinity on the 25th, and then you can bring them anytime to Elizabeth's office at the BBB. Somebody is there all day, and then we'll pick them up from there before the end of the drive. So would appreciate any help you can do with this. I know they need a lot of help. A lot of the schools probably need help, but we were approached by Mountain Gap, so they're the ones who are going to help.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Chuck. So to reiterate, if you have supplies already available that you can spare, or you make it out in time, you can drop them off at the ramp build location, which we'll talk about that in just a minute. So you'll know, especially if you're going to participate in the ramp build, but you'll also know where it's located. Then Trinity United Methodist Church with Chuck from 10 to noon on the 25th of September. And then through October 2nd, you can come by my office. The one thing I want everyone to remember is the sign on our front door says that we're closed to the public, but there is at least one person in the office at all times from 8 till noon, Monday through Friday. So simply knock on the door if you happen to have supplies you'd like to drop off, and let the person who answers know. I will make sure my staff is alerted so they'll know why you're there and why you're giving them the supplies. So just, if you could just knock on the door, then we'll be able to accept your supplies. All right. And Cheryl, did you want to add anything additional about Jumpstart Read for the Record coming up?
Well, Kathy Miller is speaking tomorrow, so I asked her to give us the latest. She is trying to have recruit a few more members for her committee, for them to be able to pull this off. So I don't know if they've met and what the details are, but if we record them virtually, I don't know why we couldn't show that to multiple classrooms. So I have a few questions about the project that maybe she'll share with us next week.
Okay.
And I'll be glad to coordinate. Deborah is going to try to attend their organizational meetings, but obviously they are, trying to encourage readers, and I just don't know if they're letting us go into the schools yet.
Okay.
So maybe we'll have more answers next week.
All right. Sounds good. All right. And now, sorry, didn't mean to cut that off there. Hit the button too fast. Next, we want to talk about upcoming ramp builds. And of course, our very next ramp build is on the 19th. So that's this Saturday. It starts at 8 a.m. So the pre-build is actually today. Probably may have already been working on it, and certainly be working on it later, a little bit later today. Then we're going to have another ramp build on October the 10th, and then with the pre-build on the 7th. Following that, November 7th, the CASA winterization. And then starting next week, I'll have a list of additional ramp builds as there that Pete has already listed and got lined up for us. And let me go ahead and let Pete present the detailed information about the ramp build coming up.
Okay, this is for the client Deborah Calhoun. The address is shown there. We are doing the pre-build tonight from 5 to 7. So far, we've got 7 folks signed up for the pre-build. We just got the list of what they need and what we've got to build tonight. And it's not too bad, but we could really use some extra help. If anybody wants to come out tonight to the CASA warehouse at 1320 Grace Street and help out, even if it's just for an hour, that would be really helpful. And then we load out on noon on Friday. Thornton Stanley has a truck for us, and so we'll get the materials moved to the client's residence, and then start bright and early on Saturday. This is a 44-foot ramp. It's going to take a little bit of time to build, so the more the merrier. We've got quite a few folks of our club signed up. We've also approached the Madison Club to see if we can get some additional help there. But right now we haven't heard back from them, so we'll see what happens there. But right now it is a go for Saturday, and we'll get this thing built and get her out of the house. She's been waiting quite a long time throughout this COVID period. And I just
Okay.
want to mention, I think the next slide.
Yes, coming up. And
Hey,
this
Pete.
is our Rotarians in action. So this is a special one that Pete wants to share with you.
Hey,
Yeah.
Pete, quick question. Is it rain or shine?
Rain or shine at this
Saturday?
point. Rain or shine at this point, yes. Okay, we not only build for people, we also build for doggies. And so after the last Saturday's shred day, my wife and I went out and helped my son and daughter-in-law build a ramp for him. You'll notice that he doesn't have any handrails because he doesn't need any.
Yeah, that's sweet to help a dog, an elderly dog who's probably having trouble negotiating those steps these days. So that's very nice. Thank you, Pete, for sharing that and for giving us the details about the upcoming ramp build. Okay. All right, and just to show our Rotarians in action, Pete mentioned the shred day last weekend. It was a great success, and in large part to our fellow Rotarians who joined us. We had Beth Brooks, we had Cliff Broderick, of course. We had right in front. We had Pete Luther and his wife Eileen. We had Mike Measles, and all of us had a great time. I don't believe I missed anybody. Hopefully I didn't. I don't think I did. But it was a great event. The weather was very nice, although it was sunny. The breeze was blowing consistently so that it was not oppressive. So that made for as pleasant as possible when you're hauling big bags and boxes full of paper to be dumped into bins. But thank you all. Thank you, our fellow Rotarians. You all are the greatest. I really appreciate your help on this event. And now let me open it. Are there any other member announcements? Any introductions of new guests? I believe I saw at least one new guest, attending our meeting. So does anyone have any announcement?
We have two guests that I know of. We have Pam Smith, who's joining us again this week, and we're glad to have her.
Welcome.
And also David Pelly is interested in joining us. And
welcome, David.
First time here.
Excellent. Thank you, Mary. Does anyone else have any other announcements? Okay. All right. Let me be sure that's okay. So I'm going to stop sharing my slides, and before I turn it over to Beth, are you introducing our speaker today?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay, before I turn it over to you, I just want to remind everyone, if you haven't already done this and you're not about to be speaking, obviously, please take a moment to mute your mic on your computer or on your phone so that our presenter will have the best possible setting for his presentation. And I'm going to take myself out of the picture, and I will go ahead and bring up the slides for Brian, and I'll let Beth introduce him. Thank you, Beth.
Elizabeth. Thank you, Elizabeth. Fellow Rotarians, I'd like to introduce Brian Walker. He is the manager of landscape management for Operation Green Team, cemeteries and street sweeping for the city of Huntsville. He has over 18 years of experience. Previously, he worked for the USDA in the Plant Protection and Quarantine Division and has owned his own garden center and landscape company, Chase Gardens. He has worked in the landscape and nursery business for over 30 years and is a state certified landscape designer. Please welcome Brian.
Thank you, Beth. I appreciate the introduction, and I appreciate the Rotary Club for inviting me today. Do want to let everyone know that I really just came for the virtual lunch at the end of the program. So anyway, what we've got is a little slideshow here to tell you a little more about Operation Green Team and its functions within the city of Huntsville. And then at the end of this, I'm going to go over a few little events that we've actually been able to have through the COVID-19 era, and some future events coming up in the next couple of months that I'd like to share with the Rotary Club. Y'all are well known, at least in my lifetime of being a group that believes in volunteering, believes in helping others. And I think we've got some events coming up that some of y'all would be willing to participate in, or at least interested in it. And so I'd like to go over that at the end of the program. And then we'll take any kind of questions that you may have and be able to answer hopefully all of those before my time runs up. So if you will, just follow along with me, and Elizabeth, we'll go ahead and turn the next page there. Some of the programs that Operation Green Team has is our Nature Explorer events out at Hayes Nature Preserve. The bottle cap recycling contest, which includes all the schools within the city limits of Huntsville, homeschools, the city schools, the private schools, all those are invited to participate in that program. And that is any twist on, twist off bottle cap. It could be a Tide bottle, it could be a Coca-Cola, it could be anything, as long as it meets that criteria of being a twist on, twist off. A lot of people don't think about like toothpaste and other products like that that are fit that category that can be recycled. The Arbor Day contest is another contest with the city school system and the private schools and homeschool groups. This is a statewide contest. It's always a trees are terrific, and whether it's in cities and states or whatever the extra part of the title is. And these fifth graders from all the schools participate in it through their art classes in most cases, and draw on poster board a picture representing that. And are then they're judged throughout the state. And for 20 years now, Operation Green Team has participated in this program. And for 20 years, we've at least had a third place or higher at the state level to come from this city. The next thing on the list is the plastic bag recycling. We take in any of your plastic bags here at the office, and I think the location's later on another slide, but 3242 Lehman Ferry Road is our location here. We're directly across from the JC's building at John Hunt Park, to give you a location there. With the plastic bags, we have a couple of different programs that we're using them with. We're using them to stuff the dog waste boxes that are in all our dog parks. Some neighborhoods have started that up in their own neighborhoods where they've created dog waste boxes and are supplying those themselves. And then the other thing is a program that we started a couple of 3 years ago, the mats for the homeless. You make mats for them to lay down on that are strictly made out of the plastic bags. Therefore, when it comes to rain or they're laying on wet ground, the mat dries out. It's not like cloth. You don't have a stinky mess that ends up being trash at the end. So this is a program that we have several volunteers not only bringing in the bags for us, but also knitting the homeless mats themselves. So we take in all inkjet cartridges. We have several businesses around town that bring those to us, and we go ahead and recycle those. And actually, that does give Operation Green Team a little bit of donation money at the end with the company that we're sending them to. They actually pay us a little something for them. Signage recycling. Of course, we just finished the city elections couple, 3 weeks ago. And so you've got all these corrugated signs, and we've got the presidential election and all the senators and representatives running in November. So those signs all fit this purpose. Real estate signs, yard sale signs, anything like that. We actually have a sign department at the city of Huntsville under our inspection department, and they go around after a week after the election and pick up any of these signs that are in the actual city right away, and they will bring them to us also. We have a compactor that we purchased a few years ago through a grant program, and we compact those signs together and send them off to KB Plastics in Troy, Alabama. And those signs are actually made into automobile parts. So parts of the engine that are made out of a certain type of plastic, that's what they're made into. The next thing is, and the last part of that signage program is they're all on metal stakes. And so we take those metal stakes and either take them off to be recycled, or we help with the Wreaths Across America program, which is at all the cemeteries, at least in this city, and where they put the wreaths on the veterans' graves near the Thanksgiving time frame, and they stay up until after the first of the year. They actually use that metal portion of the sign to stick those wreaths on. So we donate those for that cause. We have a National Planting Day every year. We have our Great American Cleanup. These are all Keep America Beautiful programs that we participate in as an affiliate of the Keep America Beautiful. We have our own community gardens, a program we started about 7 years ago throughout different neighborhoods at different parks or community centers around town. A 2 foot by 5 foot and 2.5 foot high garden box that you can plant for a community, and the community adopts it, comes down, they plant tomatoes. Anybody in that community can come and harvest the fruit or the vegetables and be able to help feed their families. We also partner with our beautification board to award the most beautiful businesses in Huntsville. That program, of course, was put on hold this year with COVID, but typically the judging is in June and the banquet is in August. But what that program is to try to get these businesses to take pride in their location, take pride in their property, and participate in a program to make it where everybody wants to, give them a sign out front to where they want to participate in it. Last thing on the slide is the electronic cardboard and Christmas tree recycling event that we participate in with our Solid Waste Disposal Authority, they're the ones, the city entity that runs the landfill and the steam plant here in Huntsville. And so we had that this past year, the week after January 1st on a Saturday, and a great turnout we had. I was amazed at how much cardboard that was turned in from all the Christmas gifts and presents coming in. But the electronics they take, and the cardboard they take at the Solid Waste Disposal Authority. They have the Household Hazardous Waste Building, excuse me, on the A Cleaner Way. And they take those items Monday through Friday of each week, and then the first Saturday of every month. But that's something that a lot of people doesn't think about, that they just go ahead and think it's fine to throw in the garbage. But if you can at all possible, we would like to see you recycle as much that you can, of course, and remember the 3 types of recycling, or the 3 R's, I should say: recycling, reusing, and reducing. So any of those things that you can do to help helps to make our landfill last for many, many years. And we want to reiterate that as part of our program. Elizabeth, you can go to the next one. Just some things to touch on here. This is the littering fine. Operation Green Team actually has a retired police officer that works for us for less. He works about 20 hours a week, and he does nothing but give out litter violations. Of course, any police officer within the city or the county can cite anyone for littering, but we actually have one that does nothing but this, and that program has tremendously helped out, especially the traffic that goes towards the landfill. A lot of these waste haulers tend not to tarp their the back of their trucks very well and everything, so you get a lot of litter on the interstate, parkway, Lehman Ferry, which is right in front of our office here, and those kind of places. So this program's really picked up the last couple of years. Of course, along with this, Operation Green Team has the litter hotline, which is the 53 CLEAN line, CLEAN. It's 532-5326. And you can call in on anyone that you see littering driving down the road. Or if you see one of these waste haulers that is losing trash out of the back of their roll off or whatever they're carrying. And so someone will answer that and get the information from you. And we send out a certified letter from the police department that looks like it's official and everything. And it's just a warning letter to let them know that, you know, people are seeing what they're doing, and that the next time a police officer sees them, these are the fines they're going to have to deal with. Go ahead. This also talks about the amount of littering here. The litter enforcement may include, but is not limited to, the anti-littering education, publication, distribution of related educational materials, and anti-littering advertising. That's part of it that a lot of people doesn't think about. You know, with the newspaper, or used to be with the newspaper, they would put all the sales flyers and things in there. And now you've got the different companies that are putting out sales flyers on their own or through the AL.com media portion of it, and they'll throw those out in your yard. The average construction company might come by, or lawn service company might come by and put in everybody's mailbox or on their front door or something that they're in the neighborhood to do any work for anybody. Those are also included in this litter ordinance. Okay, go ahead. This is the Solid Waste Disposal Authority we were talking about earlier. Covanta Energy is the contractor that runs that. And you can see by reading the slides there that Huntsville brings in about 690 tons of garbage per day. That includes City of Madison, Madison County, and the City of Huntsville. But Covanta produces nearly 180,000 pounds of steam per hour. Of course, that steam is sold to the Redstone Arsenal to help heat and cool their buildings on post there. And then the facility is equipped with 4 fossil fuel package boilers, which allow steam to be available 100% of the time. So, you know, there's also people that live on the arsenal that this is provided to. So they're a 24/7 company, and this is how all the household garbage from Madison County and the cities within comes to the Solid Waste Disposal Authority and is distributed through Energy. So we're fortunate that we have the only plant like this in the state of Alabama at this time. And therefore not all our garbage is going to the landfill. So it's allowing us many, many more years to be able to utilize this same space as our landfill. You can go ahead. Recycling. Of course, about a year ago, RANA, or the Recycling Alliance of North Alabama, came in and replaced the old recycling program. This is all managed through the Solid Waste Disposal Authority, but people call us all the time, being the city's educational entity, to ask what kinds of things can be recycled and everything. And I think if all of you have received a rolling cart from them, that you kind of got a list of what could and couldn't be put in it. There are other programs throughout the city where you can recycle cardboard, or you can recycle newspapers or things like that without going through RANA. But it there were hiccups with the program, as of any new program in the beginning, but I think it's getting a little better. We are still trying to get them to include a few more items that got taken away through the old program. But that's, like I said, this is all ran through the Solid Waste Disposal Authority, which is its own public utility, if you will, through the city of Huntsville. So, but you can always call Operation Green Team for any assistance with this. You can go ahead and go to the next one. The everyday issues. There's a lot of things that a lot of people don't think about that the city of Huntsville departments and the Operation Green Team have to deal with daily. But Operation Green Team's partners with the police department, community development, sanitation department, and our legal department to help resolve other issues like illegal dumping, unkept homes or property. Graffiti removal has been so huge. There was a time that it got really bad back in the 70s and 80s, and we got it really under control for the most part in the 90s and the early 2000s. But last few years, it's like, I think kids don't have enough to do nowadays. And so graffiti has become really high priority again. And then, of course, the bulk collection issues. And we have to be careful what we can and can't do. Community development and HPD have enforcement powers that we don't have. Just like I said earlier, we had to hire a retired police officer to actually ticket those people that are defining or that are not obeying the litter laws in town, and because we don't actually have those powers to write a ticket. We have to have programs like educational programs like the litter call-in program, where we send the warning letter to them instead. But Huntsville Police Department and Community Development work very closely with us. You're actually probably going to see something on the news the next day or two about some illegal dumping that we've had going on. There's somebody or some company, locally or not, that are dumping tires throughout the city. And we're not talking about 5 or 10. We're talking about 50 to 100 in each location. So that's one of the things that we're trying to get a hold of right now. You can go to the next slide. Last year, our Public Works Department, working along with our legal department, created the curb and gutter ordinance. And this ordinance is that just letting everybody know that the homeowner is actually responsible for the curb out in front of their property. If you do have a stand-up curb with that gutter line that's all poured in concrete, it's your responsibility to keep that silt or to keep that grass or anything of that nature from growing in that gutter line, because it's impeding the flow of water. The city has gotten so large, we can't run street sweepers through every neighborhood anymore. So therefore, we don't run them in any neighborhood. We only run them on the main thoroughfares throughout town, and we work closely with AlDOT on the state right-of-ways to run them on those roads. So they came up with this ordinance that just to let everybody know in the neighborhoods that it's their responsibility. If the street is 25 miles or less, it's the homeowner's responsibility to make sure that nothing grows up in those crack joints, that nothing collects there like tree limbs or silt that was from a lot two doors down that a house is being built or anything like that. That it's your responsibility to keep that gutter line clean, because when we have a flooding event, like when some of these tropical storms like's coming in right now, come and dump 5 inches of rain on us over a 4-hour period, then you start getting water to go, starts being pushed out towards the center of the roads and becomes a traffic hazard for the vehicle traffic going through there. You can go ahead to the next one. And this is also part of that actual ordinance itself. If once what the Public Works Department does is they give everybody a warning on this the first time. They give them an amount of time to actually get this taken care of. And we do even have a hardship program involved in this. But if for some reason no one wants to take care of their gutter line in front of their property, then it's turned over to the police department, and they actually will cite the individual to court. Okay, next slide, please. And this is still part of the program, and that's the part that actually talks about the hardship program, that waiver or extension of time there. Next slide. Okay, upcoming and ongoing events. And I'm gonna add a few things to this while we're on this actual slide. We've got our sign take back program. You can drop them off here at 3242 Lehman Ferry. This will continue all the way through the primary elections. And then just because the election time ends in middle of November, doesn't mean that you can't bring for sale by owner signs or yard sale signs, or if you sold a house and your realtor forgot to come get their sign or didn't want it, you can always drop those kind of signs off at any time at our offices. The bottle cap program, you can drop off at any city fire station. We have drop off points there, and we take drop offs here at our location. And if you want to, if you have a particular school that maybe a grandchild or a nephew or niece goes to or something, then if you want to, you can say, I'd like for all mine to be counted with Mountain Gap School, to use it as an example. The reuse of plastic bags, like we talked earlier on the homeless mats, we can take those in here at any time. Of course, the inkjet cartridges, which we spoke about earlier, is another thing. And then what we've got as far as our upcoming cleanups, Sherwood Park is our next one, which will be a week from this Saturday, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. And what we do at these neighborhood cleanups, we do different things at different ones, depending on the person the lead person from that neighborhood that's helping put this together with their committee. At Sherwood Park, if I'm not mistaken, we'll be painting fire hydrants there, picking up litter throughout the neighborhood, helping out neighbors that can't do for themselves, get stuff to the road that maybe sanitation's going to pick up the next week. Also, some of these neighborhoods have beautification areas, and we'll help them with planting the flowers and getting that beautified for the season. Then we have the South Huntsville cleanup from 8 until 2 on October the 17th. And that'll be held in, if I'm not mistaken, in 3 locations in conjunction with Ditto Landing, then a location at the Southside Park, and then a location at the Sandra Moon Complex, which was the old Grissom High School. But those are some of our upcoming events from the cleanup standpoint. And another one that a lot of people still to this day doesn't know, this will be the 8th year that we'll be having our mayor's tree planting at John Hunt Park on November the 7th. That program will run from about 8 a.m. till 12 noon on that Saturday. We tend to plant a little over 250 trees strictly by volunteers that day. Of course, John Hunt Park used to be the old airport that was closed, I believe, in 1969, if I'm not mistaken, 68, 69. And of course, the one thing you can't have at an airfield or an airport is trees. So we're constantly trying to put more and more trees back into this area so that it'll not only be a great sports complex, but a great passive park and used for events and things of that nature in the future. Then, of course, we got 2 preserves, the Hayes Nature Preserve out at Hampton Cove on 431. That anyone can go out and enjoy. And we have a lot of school programs that go on there. And we're hoping now that the city schools and the county schools are going back to school this week and next, that those programs will once again be able to start up here shortly. And then across the street, down just a little further on the opposite side, is our Goldsmith Schiffman Wildlife Sanctuary, which is more of a natural area for people to hike and to go in and enjoy nature and everything. But those are 2 of the facilities that are run by Operation Green Team. And then we talked about some of the school programs. And the one thing that I haven't spoke on is we have an Adopt a Mile program that we have volunteers all over the city that adopt a mile near their area that they keep picked up on a weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly basis. And Operation Green Team gives them all the supplies that they need to do this, but they adopt that roadside or that greenway or a park even in their area that they want to help us with keeping clean. Next slide, please. And these are some of the things that we're talking about with the Hayes Nature Preserve, the Education Center there, the Native Plant Pollinator Garden. We also have an Animal Track ID program that has been developed so that you can go through the woods and on your hikes and identify the paw prints of each animal and everything. So, and of course, Hayes is the home to our state champion shellbark hickory plant tree that is located on the acreage there. Go ahead. There are several ways that people can get in touch with us. And one of those that the city brought in about 5 years ago now is called C-Click Fix or Huntsville Connect. And these are for both complainants or people just looking out for the city department saying, hey, you may not know this, but in my area, there's a dead tree that's out on the right of way that looks like it may be able to fall onto the street, or any of those kind of issues that, like a pothole on a certain street. You can turn all those in through C-Click Fix program, and every department in the city works with this program to get their departments out there to make sure that the issues are taken care of in a timely manner. Next slide, please. And this is a little bit of what's been going on. A couple of programs that we had earlier in the summer, even through the COVID. Back in June, we had our North Huntsville cleanup, which was off of Blue Spring Road. In that middle picture there, you can see everybody painting those retaining walls that were put in by the city years ago when Blue Spring was extended to a 5-lane road there. And they're getting ready to put a mural up at Madaris and Blue Spring Road on that wall to try to bring a little more pride into the neighborhood and everything. But we participated in that, along with in July, we had our 5 Points cleanup, and the 5 Points cleanup, we painted fire hydrants and everything. And see, the fire hydrants are actually used by the fire department, but owned by Huntsville Utilities, but neither one of those groups have enough time in the day anymore to send personnel out to get all of them painted around town. So one of the things that we like to do, just like you guys putting up the ramps for CASA and everything, we like to help out other city entities when we can. And that's why we implement this fire hydrant painting in these neighborhood cleanups to take a little more of their load off of them. So these are some of the programs that we've got going on or we have done recently. And you can go to the next slide. That should be it. So I'm available to take any questions for you at this time. If anybody has anything, go ahead.
Well, Brian, first of all, I want to thank you for your presentation today. I knew a lot that the Green Team did and your department did, but I wasn't aware of all of the things that you all were involved in and how many great things you do in the community. So thank you for letting us know that. I know we have participated in the tree planting program before, Rotarians. I did have a couple of questions while our members are thinking of theirs. Just to confirm, you are at Cleaner Way, you are still accepting hazardous waste, meaning
Yes.
like paints and thinners.
Right.
And okay.
That is correct. And that's the household hazardous waste take back
Right.
program.
Okay.
Yes,
All right. Thank you. I'd heard rumors that had gotten shut down, so that's why I wanted to confirm it.
No, ma'am.
Okay. The other question is you mentioned the tire dumping. Where is that happening so far?
So far, we've had one location up north. When I say up north, a little further north. I guess it was off of, what was the road?
Maston Lake Way.
Maston Lake.
Okay.
Cottage Road.
Yeah, and then we had one dumping on Cottage, and then last week or 2 weeks ago, one was down off of Mountain Gap in Stonemark, at the back part of Stonemark. And that was the largest one we've had to date, if I'm not mistaken. It was over 100 tires at that location. But you know, some of these neighborhoods and throughout town, you'll have development at the front part, and then at the back it gets in the woods, and there's some wooded lots and some dead ends or cul-de-sacs back there with no houses for several lots back. And those are prime locations for these people to do this.
Okay.
Another thing besides the The tires is, of course, the tree trimming crews around town. There are a lot of legitimate, licensed, insured tree companies that figure it in their bill that they're going to dispose of it at the landfill and everything. And then you got a lot of private people that don't abide by those laws and regulations that end up finding a place that they can dump the green waste material too. So
Okay.
we tend to be the first group that gets the phone call, and we go and identify it, see if it's something we can grab while we're there, because we know exactly where to take everything, if it's paint buckets or if it's green waste or if it's a mattress or anything like that. And then if it's either too large for us to grab or we're going to need police involved or the health department involved in it because of what was dumped, then we get them involved. And between all those groups that you saw earlier, sanitation a lot of times does the pickup for us. Community development has to jump in and site for us at times if it's on private property and things of that nature. So we all work very well together on this program.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions? Okay. Well, again, we really appreciate you providing us all this information today and taking the time to be with us. And I know if we have additional questions, I'll be glad to forward them to you if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay.
Like I said earlier, that litter hotline number, you can call that at any time. That's our main line for Operation Green Team. If you have any questions, if you just need to know what events are coming up or anything like that, feel free to call that. That's 532-5326, and it's clean. 53 clean is the way you remember it.
Okay. All right. Very good. Well, thank you again. And we
Yes,
will
ma'am.
now go to the close of our meeting. And I'm going to share my slides one more time. And of course, our members know what that is. It's the four-way test. If you would please, members, repeat after me. Of the things we think, say, and do, number one,
Is it the
is it
truth?
truth?
Number two,
Is it fair to all
concerned?
concerned?
Number three,
Will it
Will it
build
build
goodwill and better
friendships?
friendships?
friendships.
number four, will it be
Will it be
beneficial?
beneficial to all
All
concerned?
concerned.
Be beneficial
Wonderful.
to all concerned.
Thank you all so much for attending today, and thank you, Brian. I hope you all have a great week. Please stay safe, stay healthy. We'll be seeing you soon.
Elizabeth?
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you to our guests for being here as well.
Elizabeth,
Yes,
this is Mike Measles.
yes.
Have you heard anything about Gene Andrzejewski?
Not for a while. Why? Do you have a new news about him?
No, I don't. He's a member of the Galaxy, and we were talking about him last night, and we don't know what's happened to him. We haven't seen him in a long time.
I know he's had health reasons, and he was thinking about resigning simply for his health reasons, but I have not heard any more back on that lately. But I will ask. I'll check into that.
Okay, thank you.
Certainly.
Elizabeth,
Have a good week.
this is Paul. Did you get Gary Andrews' letter of resignation?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, he's just not able to do it anymore.
No, and that's very sad. And I forwarded that on to, of course, to Chris and to Marcia, and but that's very sad.
If any of you have a chance, and just maybe drop Gary an email or something like that, he'd appreciate it. He's had dementia for a while, and it's gotten worse. Joanne said today, she just sent me a message with a copy of the letter that he sent you. He said he just enjoys getting in the car and riding around town. So, it's a shame when we get to that point.
Yeah.
Mike, this is Morgan. I think I saw Gene at church yesterday.
Okay.
So I believe.
Roger, sir. This is Rudy.
On Sunday.
I've seen him at Mass as well, both at Holy Spirit and Good Shepherd. Gene is a fellow Knight, and as you well know, Gene has got a strong history of doing a lot of work on the developments of the Holy Spirit Church and other activities here in town. He's doing well. He's strong. He had a fall and he recovered from that, but he certainly wishes everyone in Rotary Club good health as well.
Okay.
Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you for that update.
Thank you.
I just wanted to, I noted, or at least I didn't see Ray Baker on this. Now, he did come through the shred line last Saturday, and he seemed to be doing well. So I hope all is well with him right now. But he seemed to be doing well last week. All right, everyone. I will talk to you later. Take care. Have a great week.